Welcome to another episode of Ask Dr. Chi. My name is Dr. Chinoye Otuka-Eze, your #1 fertility plug. Today, I'll be continuing on the series Menstrual Cycle. We'll be talking on the phases of the menstrual cycle. You know, as I discussed previously, I spoke on the players involved in the menstrual cycle. I said the brain, the ovaries, and the womb. Now, for purpose of explanation, I'm going to use this analogy. Now, every woman has 2 ovaries. Now, all the children, when you will ever born, they're those 2 ovaries. So the ovary looks like a safe. A safe. It's like a safe. Imagine your ovaries as a safe. You understand? That means every month, the safe will open to release some eggs for that month. Every month. That's how the body does. The body doesn't give you access to your bank account, if I can use that analogy. So I'm trying to make it simple for you to understand. So every month, the safe opens up and releases some eggs. Now, usually, it is between 16 to 20 eggs when a woman is 30 and below, because the number of eggs is proportional to the age of the woman. This is because the reason is because the more eggs you have, the younger you are. The less eggs you have, the older you are. You understand it? So in the first day of your cycle, that's day 1, the body has released the eggs, and the eggs are housed in a follicle. So the brain says, oh, your period has started. What do? The brain sends a hormone called FSH. Now the hormone goes to your ovary to tell the ovary, we're expecting to ovulate this month, or the body is preparing to have a child. So what does FSH do? The body is so intelligent, it can't stimulate the entire 16 to 20 follicles. I'm sure most of you are shocked. No, doctor, no. We release only 1 egg. Yes, the body matures only 1 egg. It releases several follicles. You understand me? So what the brain does, it sends FSH. At most 2. 1 egg begins to grow. So the estrogen goes to the womb and begins to, let me use a cup. The womb is like an empty cup. It begins to pour water, because an egg will soon enter inside. You know, when a cup is empty, you throw egg inside, it breaks. You understand? But it's like water. So it begins to pour water. That means it's preparing that womb, that inner part of the womb. I told you before that it used to move out. It used to, when you menstruate, it slugs off. So it begins to prepare that womb. It begins to prepare it. It also goes to the brain, the heart, and the bones to take care of them also. But that's what the estrogen will be doing. Estrogen will be going to the womb, begins to prepare, begins to make the follicle grow bigger. Then the follicle will reach a certain size. Remember, one of those follicles, when it reaches that size, the estrogen level will be a certain amount, about 200 picogram. And if that estrogen stays in that level for a period over 50 hours, it sends signal to the brain, this egg is mature, ovulation will soon ovulate. Now, the egg that is mature now releases from that follicle. And when that egg is released, if there is sperm waiting for that egg to be fertilized, the egg will be fertilized, will now move back into the womb to form But since we are discussing the menstrual cycle, there's no sperm. So when that egg releases, it forms another cyst. That follicle where the egg comes out of form another cyst. We call it the corpus luteum cyst. That is, now we're entering the second phase of your period. That means between the follicular phase and the luteal phase is ovulation. And there's a criteria for ovulation. Estrogen must be 200 picogram and it must be over 50 hours before ovulation will happen. Now when the estrogen is that high and that long, it releases what we call a luteal LA surge. Is that LA surge that will tell the brain that this follicle is ripe for what? For ovulation. Then we go to the next phase. When the follicles come out, when the egg, I'll be using them interchangeably. When the egg comes out from that follicle, it forms another cyst. Now that cyst releases a different hormone called progesterone. That is the one that maintains the luteal phase. Now, the follicular phase is between 12 to 14 days. But the luteal phase is fixed. It's exactly 14 days. So for a woman with a 28-day cycle, your follicular phase is 14 days. You ovulate at the 14, and your luteal phase is 14 days. For a woman with a 30-day cycle, your follicular phase is 16 days. Your luteal phase is 14 days. You ovulate at day 16. For a woman with a 32-day cycle, your follicular phase is longer. That means 32 minus 14 is what? Is 18, Abi? So your follicular phase is 18 days. You ovulate at the 18th day, and your luteal phase is fixed at the 14th. So back to my story. So when the body releases that egg, corpus luteum forms, now produces another hormone called progesterone. Now what the progesterone does is it goes to the womb again to make it softer. Now estrogen makes the womb big so that when anything drops there, it stays there. Why progesterone makes it softer, so that when the baby is there, it won't be too hard for the baby to implant. Now, I always get this question, doctor, my progesterone is too low. My progesterone is too high. Now, LH is released in a pulsatile manner from the brain. So progesterone will always fluctuate. But if you have any number between 3 to 40 picogram, you're fine. So if you have 3, you're okay. If you have a 28, you're okay. So don't worry about the progesterone level in your menstrual cycle. What progesterone does in your menstrual cycle is to tell you if you ovulate or if you don't ovulate. Most of us will do a day 21 progesterone. Most of go and do a day 21 progesterone. So we'll say, my day 21 progesterone is not normal. What is it? Doctor, is 14. My sister, is normal. What the 21 progesterone tells you is that did you ovulate or you did not ovulate? If it's between 3 to 40, you ovulated. Progesterone is only important when pregnancy occurs. Because if you don't have progesterone, you will miscarry. So the level of progesterone is very important when pregnancy occurs. Let me recap the phases of the menstrual cycle. We have 2 phases, the follicular phase and the luteal phase. In between these phases, we have ovulation. Now I said your ovary is like a safe where all the babies you will have in the world is inside that safe. Every month, your body releases a particular amount out. Now when your cycle starts, some amount of those follicles comes out. It could be 16 this month, it could be 18, it could be 20. And when it comes out, the brain sends a signal to the ovary to mature only 1 or at most 2. Now you ask me, doctor, why is this system? Why is only 1 mature? The body is smart. because your womb cannot contain 16 babies. You understand? So it matures only one. That one follicle has an egg. The follicle begins to grow. As the follicle grows, you can see it during ultrasound. Those people who do folliculometry, doctor, they told me to do folliculometry, and I don't know if the egg is. That's why we do folliculometry, so it could be visible through ultrasound. So that follicle begins to grow. As it begins to mature, it releases another hormone called estrogen. Now the estrogen, what does it do? It causes the follicle to begin to grow and also goes to the womb and makes the womb big so that the baby can stay. It builds the endometrium. That's the right word. It proliferates the endometrium, sorry. It makes it thicker. When it makes it thicker, it's preparing it to receive a baby. But we're talking of menstrual cycle, I'm not talking of getting pregnant. So by the time it gets it thicker, then the estrogen will peak to 200 picograms. And it will stay there for a period of over 50 hours. When it has stayed there over 50 hours, the body say, hey, we'll soon ovulate. Send LH. There's a surge of LH. LH, they full everywhere. And that follicle opens. The egg comes outside. Because no fertilization occurs, the couples even say, the couples even closes back and begin to produce progesterone, because in the mind, we have 14 days to prepare for this baby. We have 14 days to make this womb soft so that this baby can stay. But when a pregnancy occurs, the body will stop making progesterone. When the body stops making progesterone, I'm talking of the luteal phase now, stop making progesterone. Those who endometrium, I told you the womb is like a cup, just turns upside down. Shh. And you start menstruating the next month. That is the menstrual cycle. I hope this video makes sense. If you like this video, subscribe, like, share, send to your friends who have been confused about menstrual cycle. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram at Ask Dr. Chi, and YouTube at Ask Dr. Chi. Then if you have any questions and you want a special one-on-one consultation with me, you can send me an email at askdrchi@gmail.com. Thank you and God bless you.